There are many places on the planet that maintain a magical connection with nature. But there is one country that is so special that it emanates the most desirable gems from its bowels and was described by Marco Polo, the most famous traveler in human history, as the most beautiful island in the world. In this new uncensored world video, we explore Sri Lanka, the mysterious and, for many, unknown pearl of the Indian Ocean. As you'll see, one of the most unknown and extraordinary places in the world. A place so surprising that it boasts what is probably the most surprisingly named public holiday on the planet, the Festival de la Polla, a word that in Spanish refers to the male genital organ and attracts the attention of Spanish speakers. A country with impressive landscapes, such as one of the most mysterious temples in the world, built with huge, heavy stones on top of a colossal rock more than 200 meters high. A place that, in the past, was only accessible by climbing, which makes it impossible to understand how it was built. A beautiful island where fishermen fish from a huge pole stuck in the sea, with some of the world's favorite surfing beaches, but where you should watch out for the signs, as some of them are home to the world's deadliest crocodiles. A beautiful country that boasts some of the most picturesque train journeys in the world, passing through breathtaking landscapes of jungles, mountains, tea plantations, and ancient bridges. A region with unique curiosities, such as the presence of more women than men. A social reality that has a lot to do with the fact that, until a few decades ago, a man could have several wives and even marry sisters, thanks to a tradition known as fraternal marriage, an extraordinary intimacy that can also be discovered in their remote caves, where ancient paintings seem to indicate the existence of breast implants as early as the 5th century. Pay attention and don't miss this video. You'll soon be traveling with us to what is probably one of the most mysterious and unknown places on the planet. Let's get started. Sri Lanka, known for its beauty as the Pearl of the Indian Ocean, is a fascinating country full of contrasts located in South Asia. Known for its rich biodiversity and cultural heritage, this island is a paradise for lovers of nature and history. Although it is small, with an area of around 65,000 square kilometers, slightly larger than Costa Rica, its beauty and diversity make it a unique destination. Being a tropical island, it is possible to visit at almost any time of the year, although the best months are generally from December to March, when the climate is drier and the temperatures more pleasant. This is the ideal time to explore the tea plantations, go on safari in the national parks, and enjoy the most beautiful beaches, incredible and little-known places that you will soon come to know. Sri Lanka has a population of around 22 million inhabitants, with a density of around 340 inhabitants per square kilometer, making it one of the most densely populated countries in Asia and the world. Despite being one of the most overpopulated countries, the island offers a variety of wild and protected landscapes and ecosystems, allowing its inhabitants to enjoy a diverse and vibrant environment. The name Sri Lanka comes from Sanskrit and means bright island, a term that not only reflects the country's natural beauty, but also its rich history and cultural diversity. This nickname refers to the lush landscapes, golden sandy beaches, and abundance of flora and fauna that make the island such an extraordinary place. Previously, Sri Lanka was known by the name Ceylon, derived from the Arabic word Ceylan, which referred to the island in the trade of spices and other products. The name has changed over the centuries, but the island's charm has remained intact. Sri Lanka has been a crossroads of civilizations for centuries, enriching its culture and traditions and attracting visitors from all over the world. Its strategic location in the Indian Ocean made it an important trading center, where merchants of different ethnicities and cultures gathered to exchange spices, tea, precious stones, and other valuable goods. This role as a trading enclave not only promoted economic growth, but also facilitated the arrival of various cultural influences, including Indian, Arab, and European. Throughout its history, Sri Lanka has been the scene of great empires and conflicts. One of the most important was the Anuradhapura Empire, which flourished from the 3rd century before Christ to the 10th century before Christ. This empire is famous for its impressive architectural and agricultural achievements. In this context, places like Sigiriya and the rock paintings of Dambulla offer a window into the island's rich artistic tradition. We will soon delve into this intriguing and beautiful historical legacy, discovering extraordinary paintings inside caves, such as those at Dambulla, which seem to indicate the existence of breast implants as early as the 5th century, and reflect the surprising aesthetic taste of the people of the time. In addition to this ancient past, the island has also experienced wars and disputes, such as those between rival kingdoms and colonial powers in the 16th and 17th centuries, culminating in colonization, first by the Portuguese, then by the Dutch and the British. This history has contributed to an extraordinarily rich cultural heritage, making Sri Lanka a fascinating place to discover. Sri Lanka has 2 official languages: Sinhala, unique to the island, and Tamil, originating from southern India. Although English is not an official language, its presence is so important that it can be considered as such. The road signs are generally in English, which makes communication easier for visitors. The influence of the former British Empire has left an ambivalent mark, as in neighboring India, but in this case it has been beneficial for those seeking to connect with the locals. Precisely because of this bond and friendliness, as soon as you arrive in the country, you'll find that Sri Lanka not only welcomes you with its rich culture and landscapes that you'll soon discover, but also makes your visit easy from the start. When you land in Columbo, the country's capital, one of the pleasant surprises awaiting tourists is that when you hand in your passport at customs, you usually receive a package that includes a SIM card along with your visa. The price of this SIM card is very affordable, and for around $5 you can stay connected to the world for a whole month. Another aspect that surprises you as soon as you arrive in the pearl of the Indian Ocean is the friendliness and quality of the population, which seems to have a lot to do with the Buddhist philosophy, which is in the majority in this country, and promotes a culture of respect and tolerance towards all faiths. This has to do with another curious fact about Sri Lanka, which is that it doesn't have an official religion, however strange this may seem to many. 69% of the population is Buddhist, followed by Hindus, Muslims, and Christians. The Buddhist philosophy, which seeks personal enlightenment, is reflected in the presence of temples of various religions in every city. This allows residents and visitors to practice their faith in an open and harmonious way, creating an atmosphere of peaceful coexistence that reflects the friendly and respectful nature of the people. Kandy, one of Sri Lanka's most important cities, is known as the capital of Buddhism and is home to the famous Temple of the Buddha's Tooth, which houses the only relic of the Buddha's tooth in the world. This temple is considered the most sacred in Buddhism and attracts devotees from all over the world, making Kandy an important spiritual center on the planet. In this ancient city, you can't miss the Lankatilaka Buddha statue, the largest in the country. This imposing statue, some 12 meters high, is famous for its beauty and detailed representation of the Buddha in a meditative pose. Another important thing you should bear in mind if you want to visit Kandy is that strict cultural rules apply on the streets of Kandy. Smoking and drinking alcohol is forbidden so as not to dishonor or disturb the Buddha or the monks. Those wishing to have a drink must find an alley away from prying eyes or order beer in teacups, a practice that highlights the uniqueness of this place. While many cities in the world, such as New York, face considerable difficulties in implementing smoke-free laws in public spaces, in Kandy, these rules have been in place for years, a testament to the deep respect for Buddhist traditions. Kandy's commitment to spirituality also manifests itself in one of the most remarkable festivals, at least in terms of sound for Hispanics on the planet. The celebration of the Asala full moon P0Y4, the great monthly P0Y4 festival. Probably if you know Spanish, you've thought something that all Spanish speakers think: what can happen to a festival with that name? It will be fun to read you in the comments, but this festival certainly has nothing to do with what Hispanics might imagine, because in this country the term P0Y4 refers to the monthly day of the full moon. This day is a sacred moment for Sri Lankan Buddhists, Despite the strange connotations that the name of this holiday may evoke, alcohol, parties, and meat consumption are completely forbidden on this day in Sri Lanka, promoting an atmosphere of reflection and peace. On days like this, the streets of Kandy are filled with devotees who take part in religious activities and bring offerings to the Temple of the Tooth of Buddha, reinforcing their connection with faith and culture. In addition to the names of these Buddhist traditions, Sri Lanka is also distinguished by its language and cultural expressions. One of the most recognizable words in Sinhalese is puta, which translates as my son or friend, and reflects the warmth and camaraderie of the local people. So if you meet a tour guide and call her Puta Chota, she's likely to smile at you with pleasure, demonstrating the value of the personal bond in Sri Lankan culture. In Sri Lanka, the word Chota is translated as little one or child. So in this country, these two words together, far from making you think someone is crazy, mean little friend or little companion, a term widely used on the island. Now let's discover the wonders of Sri Lanka and the best way to explore them. Without a doubt, one of the best experiences is traveling around the country by train, considered one of the most fascinating train journeys in the world. Prices are very affordable, with tickets ranging from 1 to 10 euros, depending on the distance and class. Traveling by train is not only convenient, but also offers the opportunity to interact with the locals and appreciate the landscape in a unique way. Sri Lanka's rail routes offer spectacular views of mountains, tea plantations, and rural landscapes, creating a unique visual experience that few other means of transportation can match. Among the most important routes is the one from Kandy to Ella, considered by many to be the most beautiful and fascinating rail route in the world, famous for its breathtaking views and picturesque atmosphere. Along the way, you can enjoy a winding journey through tea fields and mountains, with stops at historic stations that add a nostalgic touch to the trip. During the train ride between Kandy and Ella, travelers can admire some of the most beautiful tea plantations on terraces along the mountains. This route is considered one of the most beautiful in the world due to its natural beauty, offering spectacular views of the green-covered hills and the work of the tea pickers. This reality, which can be easily observed when discovering this country, makes Sri Lanka one of the world's leading tea producers. Tea production has transformed the landscape of the mountains and continues to be a major tourist attraction, attracting tea lovers from all over the world. In this sense, it's good to know that Sri Lanka produces one of the most famous teas in the world, Ceylon tea. This exquisite black tea is produced mainly in the highlands of the country. Kandy and Ella are two of the main producing regions. Ceylon tea is known for its intense and stimulating flavor and has gained international recognition for its quality. Another alternative to the train is to explore Sri Lanka by bus or hire a guide to get to know this incredible country. Buses offer an authentic experience and allow you to immerse yourself in local life. In these transportation vans, you will always find an assistant driver, a real handyman who, although he seems quiet and in the background, is ready to intervene in any unforeseen situation. If the van breaks down, you'll discover how this character is ready to roll up the sleeves of his impeccable shirt and, with his acumen, keep the trip going smoothly. His presence adds a special and amusing touch to the adventure in Sri Lanka, making you feel part of a unique experience. Returning to the beauty of Sri Lanka, few people know that one of the most interesting attractions is the safaris. The country has several national parks, such as Yala and Udawalawe, and these safaris offer you the chance to see an incredible variety of wildlife, including elephants, leopards, buffalo, and exotic birds. Among the country's most popular animals is the Sri Lankan elephant, a subspecies of the Asian elephant, recognized worldwide as the continent's largest land mammal. With almost 6,000 elephants living in national parks, they are a symbol of the island's rich fauna. The cost of a safari can vary. Normally, a half-day tour can cost between $20 and $60 per person, depending on the type of vehicle and the guide. You can organize a safari through local agencies or even at your hotel, but it is advisable to book in advance during the high season, which runs from December to March, so as not to miss out. In addition to the safaris, blue whales, the largest mammals in the world at up to 30 meters long, can be seen in its waters. These majestic creatures migrate along the island's coast and offer whale-watching enthusiasts the chance to witness their grandeur in a unique natural environment. Whale-watching boat trips are an unforgettable experience that allow visitors to come into contact with these wonders of the ocean. In addition to these wonders and the ways to discover them, it's good to know another of the most curious and interesting facts about Sri Lanka, which is that it has a long list of UNESCO World Heritage Sites, which we will now get to know in more detail, as well as their history and legends, some mysterious and magical and others quite curious, that have to do with the intimate life and tastes of its former inhabitants. One such place is the sacred city of Anuradhapura, where you can explore ancient ruins and stupas dating back more than 2,000 years. This site not only has great religious significance, but also offers a fascinating insight into Sri Lankan history. Here, the tranquility and spirituality of the place envelop you as you walk among the ruins of an advanced civilization. But if there's one place you can't miss during your visit to Sri Lanka, it's the ancient city of Sigiriya, a world-famous gem. Famous for its famous Lion's Rock, this fortress was built on top of an imposing rock that offers unparalleled panoramic views. The climb to the top is an adventure in itself, and as you ascend, you can see ancient frescoes in the fortress's impressive structures. At Sigiriya, one of the most impressive archaeological sites in the world, you can find frescoes that reveal very intimate aspects of the life and culture of its ancient inhabitants. Climbing to the top of this great mountain, visitors come across the so-called Cave of the Maidens, where paintings of scantily clad or unclothed women are displayed in suggestive poses and activities. These artistic representations are not only fascinating for their beauty, but also raise questions about the tastes and intimate relationships of the time. The meaning of these frescoes is still debated. Some experts suggest that the women depicted may be part of the royal court or represent religious figures, while others question whether they reflect a celebration of the sensuality and aesthetics of the time. The voluptuous figure of these women also invites reflection on a possible passion for breast implants, or more accurately, on the artist's ability to capture the imagination of the people of their time. Either way, these frescoes are a fascinating testimony to the social and cultural complexity of the ancient kingdom of Sigiriya, where art and intimacy are intertwined in a mysterious and breathtaking landscape. The Lion Rock of Sigiriya is an ancient fortress and palace located at this site in central Sri Lanka. This impressive archaeological site rises some 200 meters above the surrounding landscape and is famous for its distinctive shape, reminiscent of a lion, due to the large lion paws that once lined the entrance to the fortress. A place as beautiful and magical as the mystery it seems to hide. In fact, huge stones were used to build it, some of which weighed tons and were several meters long, and the surprising thing is that, at the time, there was no other way to access it than by climbing them, which raises questions about how it could have been built with the tools and technology of the time. Another intriguing aspect of the site is its history. It was built by King Kasyapa, who ascended the throne after murdering his father. Distrustful of others, he chose this inaccessible location to build his fortress, hoping to be safe from possible reprisals. The most popular theory about its construction suggests that a combination of local labor and ingenious techniques were used to move these huge stones to the top, although the exact details of how this was done remain an enigma to this day. In addition to these sites, the Golden Temple of Dambulla, with its impressive caves filled with Buddhist statues and paintings, is also an important destination that impresses anyone who visits. This temple complex is an outstanding example of religious architecture and offers a deep immersion in Buddhist culture. The view from the caves is extraordinary and offers a visual connection with the beautiful surrounding landscape. Another impressive site is the ancient city of Polonnaruwa, which offers well-preserved ruins that reflect the grandeur of Sri Lanka's past kingdoms. In this ancient city, you can explore impressive structures and learn about the country's ancient history. The statues and temples that adorn it bear witness to the time when it was the kingdom's capital. In addition to its historical and natural beauty, the city is much more populated by women than men. According to recent figures, there are around 700,000 more women than men in Sri Lanka, a gender gap that goes hand in hand with a very warm and hospitable population, resulting in friendly and welcoming treatment of visitors. This gender gap in Sri Lanka may have something to do with the tradition that, until a few years ago, a man could have more than one wife. This practice was allowed in some Sri Lankan communities and cultures, which may have influenced the number of women in relation to men. Even more surprising than this ancient tradition is sibling marriage, a practice which, in some communities, allowed a man to marry his wife's sisters as well. This type of marriage was considered advantageous for maintaining wealth and family ties. Although this custom is not common in Sri Lanka today, it persists in other countries, such as Nepal, where sibling marriage is still part of some cultural traditions. Another surprising fact about the culture of the Sri Lankan people is that they are very superstitious. One of the most impressive examples is the revered Bodhi tree of Anuradhapura, which is considered to be the oldest tree that has ever existed. Derived from the fig tree under which Buddha is said to have attained enlightenment, the tree occupies a central place in the country's spirituality. For this reason, a Bodhi tree is planted in the garden of many homes, as it is believed to attract good luck and offer spiritual protection to those who grow it. Another interesting Sinhalese superstition is related to lunar eclipses. In Sri Lankan culture, these celestial phenomena are seen as unfavorable moments. For this reason, it is common for people to avoid eating or drinking during an eclipse, believing that the negative energies could affect their health. These beliefs highlight how superstition is part of people's daily lives, shaping their rituals and behaviors. But there are not only superstitions in this beautiful country, there are also dangers, invisible to many, especially tourists who are not familiar with the wild nature of this region. That's why, in Sri Lanka, the locals' attention to certain natural dangers is remarkable, especially in relation to coconuts and crocodiles. Falling coconuts have become one of the main causes of accidental death in some areas, with numerous accidents recorded every year. Coconut trees, which can reach up to 30 meters in height, produce hard coconuts that can fall unexpectedly, posing a significant risk to life, especially in areas where these trees are abundant. For this reason, locals pay close attention to their surroundings, taking precautions to avoid these deadly accidents. We advise you to be careful and protect your head if you walk through overgrown areas when you arrive in the country. Although you should take extra care on some of its beaches because, as strange as it may seem to many, which we've already mentioned in our other videos, such as in Costa Rica, Australia, or India, Sri Lanka also has saltwater crocodiles, the deadliest in the world, which inhabit some of the beaches in this beautiful country. These crocodiles are mainly found on Sri Lanka's southwestern beaches, so it is essential that you check the warning signs before diving into the water. Although Sri Lanka is known for its beautiful, tranquil beaches, some of these places share a habitat with saltwater crocodiles. In many of these areas, bathing may be prohibited or discouraged, especially in areas close to rivers or estuaries, where crocodiles are more common. Therefore, it is common to see warning signs indicating the presence of these reptiles, asking bathers to stay away from the water. In general, the areas most developed for tourism tend to have security personnel and signs indicating that the water is completely safe for swimming, and that there are safe areas to enjoy the beaches without worrying about crocodiles, especially those far from rivers or estuaries. The beaches in the east, such as Arugam Bay, and some in the north, are among the safest and allow swimmers to enjoy the sea more calmly. Sri Lanka's saltwater crocodiles move mainly to coastal areas and rivers, where they seek food and shelter, and therefore need to live near rivers because although these reptiles can tolerate saltwater, they also need access to fresh water to survive. That's why it's common to find them near the mouths of rivers or in mangroves, where the salinity is milder. Our recommendation is that you always pay attention to local warnings and safety signs, and if possible, ask beach staff for advice. At this point, we'd like to ask you, would you like to visit Sri Lanka? What impressed you most about this beautiful country? Its traditions or paintings, or the reality of the danger of coconuts and crocodiles? Pause the video and leave your comment. This is the best way to support us and help us continue working every week to bring you interesting videos like this one. So thank you for helping us. Despite these dangers, of which it is always good to be aware, Sri Lanka is recognized worldwide as one of the most popular destinations for surfers. Its beaches, with long coastlines and ideal conditions, offer a variety of waves that appeal to beginners and experienced surfers alike. Arugam Bay in particular is famous for its consistent waves and lively surf scene. During the monsoon season, which runs from May to September, the waves are particularly impressive, making it a popular destination for surfers from all over the world. Other famous surfing beaches are Hikkaduwa and Marissa, where surfers can enjoy good waves all year round. The diversity of waves allows each surfer to find their ideal spot, where visitors can combine the thrill of the sport with exploring a spectacular tropical environment. But beyond surfing and the incredible wonders of this enigmatic country, one of the greatest gems and virtues that have earned Sri Lanka the nickname Pearl of the Indian Ocean lies in its geological wealth. The island's subsoil is a veritable treasure trove of precious stones. With more than 700 different varieties, Sri Lanka has become one of the main producers of sapphires, rubies, topazes, amethysts, tourmalines, and many other gems. These deposits, located in various regions, have made gem mining an integral part of the country's culture and economy, with jewelers adorning the streets of cities like Columbo and Kandy, offering pieces of incomparable beauty. Among the most prized stones are the Ceylon Blue Sapphire and the Padparadsha Sapphire, whose unique characteristics and superior quality have made them coveted the world over. This fascinating link between the island and its precious stones not only highlights its natural beauty, but also reinforces its reputation as a tourist destination, where visitors can explore both its breathtaking landscapes and its heritage as the land of precious stones. So much beauty, wealth, and mystery make it difficult to choose one thing that makes Sri Lanka famous. But perhaps Sri Lanka's most famous and mythical postcard is none other than its famous fishermen, who have developed a unique and spectacular fishing technique. Instead of fishing from the shore or from small boats, these fishermen stand on a wooden pole stuck in the bottom of the ocean, suspended several meters high. This technique, known as stilt fishing, has become one of the island's iconic images, attracting the attention of tourists and photographers from all over the world. The origin of this practice dates back centuries, when fishermen discovered that they could increase their yield by fishing from these elevated platforms. Being high up, they have a better view of the sea and can spot schools of fish. Fishing is done with rods and hooks, which allows them to catch fish more efficiently. This tradition not only reflects the fishermen's ingenious adaptation to their environment, but also demonstrates a deep respect for nature and its cycle. However, despite its beauty and authenticity, pole fishing is currently facing challenges. With the advent of tourism, many fishermen have begun to offer their skills as an attraction to visitors, creating a tension between the preservation of tradition and the need to sustain their livelihoods. Other fishermen abandon the practice, while some continue it, adapting to the changes and keeping this fascinating custom alive. Pile fishing is not just a fishing method, it is an integral part of Sri Lanka's cultural identity. Watching these fishermen in action, you can see the harmony between man and the environment, a bond that has endured over the years and continues to fascinate visitors to this beautiful island in the world. This beauty has a lot to do with the famous statement made by the most famous traveler of all time, the mythical Marco Polo, who called it the most beautiful island on Earth. As you have already discovered, every corner of this island reveals a new treasure. Heavenly beaches, tea-covered mountains, rich animal and marine biodiversity, and a fascinating history intertwined with living traditions. To make the most of Sri Lanka's beauty and culture, it's essential to know how to get there and discover another of the country's most attractive tourist attractions, recognized as one of the cheapest places in the world. Most visitors arrive in the country via Bandaranaike International Airport in the capital Columbo. As for visas, an electronic permit must be obtained before arrival, a simple procedure that can be carried out online. This visa allows you to stay for up to 30 days and is a great way to facilitate entry into the country. One of the country's most attractive features is the cost of living. It is among the cheapest destinations in the world, comparable to neighboring India. This means that you can enjoy a rich and diverse experience without spending too much. For example, a dinner for two in a normal restaurant can cost around 10 euros, while if you prefer a more informal restaurant or a street stall, you can spend less than $5. As for the food, you should know that Sri Lankan cuisine is famous for being one of the spiciest in the world, and is undoubtedly a culinary experience not to be missed. Dishes are usually seasoned with a variety of spices, and curry is one of the main ones. The combination of fresh and aromatic ingredients, such as coconut, ginger, and various spices, creates vibrant and complex flavors that delight the palate. Fish curries, samosas, and delicious hoppers, a traditional Sri Lankan dish consisting of fermented rice pancakes and coconut milk, are just some of the delicacies that will make you want to dig in. With all this in mind, it's good to know that if you don't like spicy food, it's best to let us know in advance, just in case. As for accommodation, a night in a medium-sized hotel or hostel usually ranges from $20 to $60, which allows you to explore and experiment without worrying too much about your budget. So, with little money, you can enjoy the hospitality of the Sri Lankans, taste their exquisite cuisine, and marvel at their rich history and culture. All this makes Sri Lanka a destination that is not only beautiful, but also affordable, allowing you to experience an unforgettable adventure in the pearl of the Indian Ocean. Before concluding this trip to one of the most beautiful countries in the world, you should know that one of the most impressive and beautiful attractions of the country's capital is its vibrant mix of modernity and tradition, where skyscrapers meet ancient temples and colorful markets. Columbo offers a rich cultural experience with parks, beaches, and a variety of restaurants and hotels that will give you your first taste of this enigmatic island. Among the city's most beautiful and colorful festivals is the Kite Festival, held in October. During this event, Columbo's skies are filled with kites of all colors and shapes, creating an extraordinary visual spectacle. This festival attracts not only locals, but also tourists from all over the world, making it an unforgettable celebration that reflects the joy and vibrant culture of Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka can be considered one of those corners of the world that seem to have come straight out of a fairy tale, a reality that is also reflected in literature. In the famous book 1001 Nights, the legendary Sinbad visits this magical island twice, a place whose beauty and mystery have captured the imagination of travelers and storytellers for centuries. We hope you've enjoyed discovering Sri Lanka, one of the most beautiful and fascinating islands and nations in the world, learning about traditions and curiosities that would leave more than one person speechless. If so, don't forget to leave us a comment telling us what surprised you most about this country, and to leave us a like. You know that doing so is the best way to support Uncensored World, so that we can continue working to bring you interesting videos like this every week. And don't miss the video that comes after this one, so that you can continue to discover the wonders, mysteries, and curiosities that make this beautiful planet called Earth unique. Click here. You'll love it.